This is my father, Louis. He passed in 2001 in November. But in thinking about why I might have become a target, some of the musings, and the insanity that ensued in my mind, there were some revelatory memories that came, things out of the blue that I hadn't thought of since they happened. One of the things that I think is pertinent is in 1973, I was 10 years old. My father was a brilliant guy. He was an aerospace engineer at that time who worked for Hughes Aircraft here in Los Angeles, and he worked on satellites. And he was always questing for information all the time about everything. He was very intelligent and, read constantly and just was brilliant and flawed and, all these things. But in any case, the experience that I remembered out of the blue in the revelatory phase of the insanity of the TI information download that I got was he took me to a house in the Hollywood Hills to a group of people that he had joined. It was the Golden Dawn. Now, mind you, I'm 10 years old. I had no idea what was going on or what any of it was about, and didn't. For up until recently, I had no idea what the Golden Dawn was even about until I had this memory, and then I began looking. Very fascinating, though. It was Aleister Crowley started that group. Satanists, okay? My father, he took me there, and I remember sitting around in this living room in this gorgeous old house with a bunch of very odd, very strange men sitting in the living room, and we're all eating, our little appetizers off paper plates. And I remember these guys glancing around at each other out of the corner of their eyes. I remember lots of silence, no one talked much, and these men just kind of with these furtive glances to each other, and I'm sitting there, back on this big chair. I remember going to the restroom and having all these strange feelings when I was in the restroom. I remember feeling very uncomfortable and telling my father that I didn't want to go back there again. Very interesting as well, that after that, and I mean quickly after that, very soon after us visiting this place, I became absolutely obsessed with wanting to know things about the occult. I wanted to know about all kinds of stuff. And I asked my father to buy me a crystal ball. And believe it or not, he did. I was 10 years old. That man went down into the bowels of, again, Hollywood, and found an occult bookstore and like a magic shop, and bought me this gorgeous crystal ball that he said had this history of coming from Romania. In any case, so that's where, the story kind of ended for me as a child. I couldn't figure out what any of it meant. But after that experience, I wanted to know all sorts of things. And he encouraged me in that regard. He encouraged me to, just look into it, read these things, find out. Information was power, So I did. I became, very interested in all sorts of things. When he got me that crystal ball, he got me a small book that I do have that's going to be burnt. In any case, about crystal gazing, and it suggested that you look at the ball, gaze at the ball for 20 minutes every night right before going to sleep, with a candle that was burning off to the side or behind it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but whatever the protocol was, I did that. And at day 30, I began to see all of these pastel clouds, like big cumulus clouds that were roiling toward me and parting, pink and blue and yellow and green. And they were just coming at me like crazy, like really fast, and parting and parting and parting and parting. And it really scared me. And so he'd also purchased a black velvet cloth. He said that when I wasn't looking into this thing, that I should wrap it up so that spirits and other energies and stuff couldn't get in it. So I wrapped the ball up and I never looked at it again. So, you know, I kind of knew even as a kid that I didn't want to be around these people. And when I began to see things in the crystal ball, I knew that I didn't want to go any further with that, because I was very afraid of what I was going to see. I was afraid I was going to see bad things happen to my family. That was what was in my mind. I didn't want to see people die. Isn't that interesting? That was 1973. In 76, uh-oh, I got to stop this for a minute.